Hi there, and welcome to the Pod Pod, the Northwest's newest all-purpose recording studio for content creators. If you've got something to say and need a place to say it, search for podpod.uk. In all the usual social channels, give us a like and a follow, and get in touch to reserve your time to create.
So yeah, welcome guys to our next podcast, funded by Proper Good for the Wigan Borough Social Enterprise Network. So here today we're lucky to have Floors for Thee, who are one of our, you've been around for a few years, but you're obviously new onto our Social Enterprise Network. So can I get you both to introduce yourselves?
I'm Ben O'Connell, I'm director of Floors for Thee, I'm founder.
And my name's Jessica, I'm Ben's wife, and I'm also a director and head of admin and networking.
Brilliant, fantastic. And just for purpose, you're located in
Ashton and Makefield.
Yeah.
We're on Liverpool Road behind Dreamers Beds, Unit 6 Park Road is the address.
Brilliant. So what is it that you do then? Because obviously a lot of people will probably heard about Floors for Thee, but maybe don't know what you do. So what is your primary function?
So basically, when we started this up, the thought behind it was, see, we'll have to go back. I was working for a company, and what happened was every morning we'd turn up and they was cutting usable pieces of carpets up to fit them in the bin. Now, I did a little bit of background research on how much carpet's going into waste, and we found out that there was a lot more than just that one company. So what I did is I started just putting it on my van in the morning, because I'm from a council estate. I know a lot of people who genuinely can't afford carpet in a room. So I started putting it on the van, and as I was going around doing fits, if I noticed somebody didn't have a carpet in a room, I just say, I've got a piece of carpet here, you can have the piece of carpet if you just pay us to fit it. And it kind of grew from there. I started seeing what Fur Clemp were doing, and I thought, that's pretty good, they're using waste as well, let's try and have a look in their business model and see if we can use that to create Floors for Thee. And that's how it started. So we started then, we went to a lot of big manufacturers, said, we know you've got waste problems, would we be okay to take the waste from you and use it for social gains to help people who really can't afford it? So then that was kind of how it started. Obviously there's more background to that. I came from foster care, and I know what it's like moving out of foster care into a flat with nothing. So then that's how I started thinking, well, if I know anybody, I started going to the council asking, do you know anybody who could do with flooring? And it kind of spread like wildfire, and we got inundated with referrals, and that's basically the start of Floors for Thee.
You started at Fur Clemp?
Started at Fur Clemp, yeah.
When did you move to Ashton? A few years ago?
We started in Fur Clemp. We opened we got a building in Standish so we could store all the stock, but it became a bit of a problem travelling to and from both sites, so we combined the two sites into one in Ashton.
Yeah. So how did you get involved then in Floors for Thee?
So I got basically involved after myself and Ben met. So we both, I think everybody's got a story behind them, and as I said, Ben's got his own coming from foster care, etc. And when I met Ben, I was a single mum. I'd been given a council property a couple of years previous to which I think I had like the most lowest end carpet that you could imagine, because at the time I needed just the house I needed it moving into. I was due to have Lily within like 3 weeks of me moving in, so kind of a couple of years had gone by, and it was that time where you kind of start looking at your home going, stuff, I need to kind of like change this a little bit, or things need updating a bit, and wear and tear of general things. And when I started looking into kind of new flooring, being a single mum, even though I was working on top of bills and everything, I couldn't physically afford to pay out for new flooring. So I rang a company at the time who offered finance options, to which Ben at the time was one of the fitters for. So I sorted it all out, monthly payments I could manage to keep up with, and that was when I booked it in, and Ben ended up actually being my fitter on the day, which is how we met. And the rest between me and Ben from there was history. Going further into, after kind of a couple of weeks of knowing each other, Ben quite opened up to me and just said, can I basically ask you how much you've paid for this? So I said, well, overall, after I've paid all my monthly payments, you're looking at about £2,000. And he went, you are? And I went, well, yeah. I said, but with monthly payments, I can keep up with that. And Ben honestly went to me, he went, I'm just telling you now, what I've laid is not £2,000 worth of product that I've put down. But that's kind of where they trap you, because knowing how financially, you know, pivotal this time we're in, that was the only thing that I could have afforded. And to know kind of that you've basically not really got what you're paying for, but because you need it, and that's like a quick fix for you, that was the option that I ended up taking, which, you know, is how a lot of people, you know, get into, whether it's on Very accounts or other socials, in order to pay for things. That's why finance is so high at the minute, because people don't have that money to directly pay out. So when Ben came to me and had this idea for Floors for Thee, I said to him, I definitely think it's something that's needed, not just here, it's needed globally. I said, but how the hell are we going to start doing it? And from Ben's usual motions and whatever, he just said, well, I'm going to need the savings. And I said, right. I said, well, if you're using them, I said, I suggest you make it work. And that is literally what happened. It's just been a learning curve. It's been a building process. We've cried, we've laughed. We find
a lot of, when we first started up, we got a lot of case studies because we asked for referral. We wanted to go through a council stream basically, but we wanted it to be safe for us as well as safe for other people. So when we started coming in, we started getting a few, like, not full case studies, but we got a little bit of stuff that we didn't want to read, because then it kind of played with your heartstrings, and we started doing a lot for free, and it did get unsustainable at one point. So we kind of had to slow it down a little bit, and then put into place a policy where we have a criteria that people have to meet now. It's kids' bedrooms first, the priority for us, because obviously it's dangerous, and if kids want to play in the room, then it's stairs and landing, because falling down the stairs with no carpet is dangerous. Very rarely we do lounges now, because we think it should be paid for, because they're usually bigger rooms as well. So that when we started it up, that wasn't in play, and we was getting full houses, and it was depleting everything that we was getting, and it became like a job then to just do the referrals, and we weren't making anything. So it was like we had to sit down and go, how can we do this and make it sustainable? Do you know what I mean? So it went well at first, but it was hard. I
think it just got to the point of where we were like, we were so inundated with things, and it was like, this is so needed, and it was trying to. It's trying to, you know, unless you've been in a situation where, you know, you can't afford flooring, you don't know what that's like, and you know, to have to try and find alternatives, and you know, just to make your home look appealing or warmer or whatever that may be. And with how quickly it kind of blew up, we were almost so overwhelmed with it that, you know, that's where all the policies did have to start coming into place, because we didn't know what we were doing, really. We knew how to fit carpet, we knew what it was, but we didn't know what the business kind of side to it was. And that, I think, is something that slowly together we have managed to slowly get under control and help as many people as we can with what we've got without putting ourselves out. Your Housing are an amazing group that we have just started to team up with. They do temporary accommodation, or they do supported living, things like that. An amazing group of men and women who we're so fortunate to be a part of, and luckily we've managed to just this year basically secure us as the actual main suppliers for everything, because one of the things of what we do is we believe that flooring should be available to everybody regardless of what your budget is. And with the quotes in what they were getting given off other suppliers, with what we were quoting matched up to ours, we could do 3 jobs compared to the one. So, you know, that's another way in which we try and help out. It's not just the public, it's groups of people, it's organisations, and, you know, to know that we're even just making that little bit of an impact and a difference, and we are being recognised for it, it's a really rewarding thing. Because I think a lot of the times if you work for a charity or a CIC, you feel like you're screaming in a full room, and that no one's listening.
Like, I know from past experience, when I was younger and I had to live in a flat on my own at a young age, and if you don't have anything, you don't want to be in the flat, you want to be out with your mates, and then that's when you start getting into bother. You know what I mean? And it's it's not a good lifestyle. But if you give that little bit of comfort to somebody, it gives them that reason to be at home, that reason to stay in the house, that reason to look after the house. Also builds them for future. It builds confidence in themselves. They can go, actually, I've had this carpet now a couple of years. It was really nice. I want another one now, and it gives them that thought in their head to start saving for things. And that's what we're trying to do with it. We're trying to use carpets now to give somebody that comfort, so then they're at home and they feel like this. I want this house to be better now because they look at this carpet that I've got. Yeah.
I think that's what's great about, like you say, with yourself as a social enterprise, because like I say, you've got that business model, you know, good quality, affordable flooring, etc. So that's there. It's great to hear about, like I say, you've got these contracts with like your house. And I'll talk in a bit about what you know, hopes in terms of future contracts and things like that with other public sector, private sectors. But it's great that you've got that social bit, the fact, like you said before, about the recycling bit, everything you mentioned there, about, you know, obviously the kind of the safety side of it, the mental well-being side of it, like say young people, and it's going to be interesting to see how you actually measure that impact. I don't know if it's something that you're actually doing to the impact, because like you say, they're for you as a business, and I like to think that any commissioner, like you say, here or housing, think, we're going to commission you in, not only because we're going to get a good quality product, but we know that as part of your CIC, you know, offering, that you provide all this extra social value. And I know it's something we've said before a minute about trying to, from a social value side of it, your social value outcomes are going to be amazing and through the roof with everything that you've said. And it is, and it's a model that, you know, effectively all other businesses, other flooring companies, other businesses should be kind of adopting it. But have you found it hard though, because, you know, we were talking before about the fact that you are a CIC, but the definition, it's a challenge that we've had as you know, looking at the sector, where people just automatically, and I don't know if it's because our sector's, you know, we've said before to people that when people talk about our sector, they talk about private sector, public sector, and the voluntary community, faith, social enterprise sector. But most people seem to just stop at the voluntary community bit. So you're bracketed in that sector where most people will say, oh yeah, philosophy, they're a voluntary community group. So straight away people then will think, oh, I can go there because I'm going to get freebies. I'm going to, can you do my floor for free kind of thing. So how have you had to, because as a CIC, it's great that you will have a plan to say, we do flooring first, is paid for, but this is our social value and for how many, how have you, because that will be hard for you to manage.
At one point we got inundated with a lot of work, and we had to just put it out there to people one by one. So we spoke to some people from the council themselves who we had a lot of referrals coming through different teams within different sectors, public sector, housing sectors, a lot of domestic abuse sectors. We do try to help as much as we can anyway, but when they was coming through, we had to go back to basically their ADs and just say, we're not actually a free service, we are a paid service, but we can give you, if we have the stock in that's remnant stock, we will give you the carpet if you can pay the fitting fee for us. And it was just basically trying to find something that met in the middle with the sectors and tried to help them out, you know. So
because we understand that everybody's got budgets, and you know, there's only so much they can do, and it has to be pumped into different areas, etc. So we always try and, you know, stick to people's budgets if we know what they're working with, and you know, we try and do as much as we can and give as much grace as we can to every situation that ends up coming in. But ultimately we have to be realistic as a business side of it. You know, there's so many people that want our help that we have to do it in a way that's, you know, still feasible, that we can remain open and that this service can continue, whilst, you know, it's a hard one. It is a hard one, because
we still get a lot of people thinking it's free, not as much as we used to, because we have put a few different posts out there explaining when we first started, we had a pinned post on the page just explaining what we was trying to do, and then after about a year and a half we looked at it and we thought, this is giving out the wrong signals. So we took that down and we remodeled it and sent it back out again, and that really did slow a lot of it down. It really helped us.
Because it can be negative in it. We've had remember some of the groups we've seen in the past, and when people, because of how we are in the sector, people sometimes can think, yes, it's great that it's free or it's whatever, but sometimes there's always been that element of it's really going to be good quality. Surely if it's a free service or it's a cheaper service, then does it mean? But you guys are proving that it's good quality.
Good quality. There was,
compared to anyone else out there. You just have this social bit, and that, like I said, I'm imagining like, eventually on your website, etc., having all these social measurements and impact. And we've said before, this is what you're doing is business as usual as it should be. We've always said before, there's too many businesses who'll just be turning up, extortionate prices, don't really think about the customer, haven't got a thought about the customer. It's just they're just there to make money and move on. But what you guys are doing, etc., and I'm sure you most of the people you work with and you employ are local as well, so you're keeping the money in Wigan, obviously, locally based. So those outcomes are going to be absolutely massive in social value, and part of it is going to be measuring them and showcasing them, whether that's on your website.
I've got a young lad now who's been with me training on the tool side for about 3 years. He's just gone on his own, and he now has his own labourer. So that for me was a big thing that I'd like to carry on. We would like to do a DIY skills course in training fitting carpets to maybe young people and stuff like that. So this isn't just the end. We've got future goals that we'd like to put back into the community, training courses that are giving them skills, maybe a future job involved in that if they are meet our criteria and are good with
and like you say, so you've got your business. It's great that you said before about obviously the recycling in terms of obviously supporting obviously with landfill and everything, though you mentioned about all the stuff like the children's bedrooms and the stairs and the kind of the helping people from the point of view of poverty, for example. But it's fascinating as well. I know we were saying before we started the podcast about obviously some of the links that you guys have got with like the mental well-being work, and you started to mention before about your story. It'd be good. So obviously, if you have to talk about the story,
of course, So when I was a little bit younger, I was in foster care, and when I left foster care, I was trying to go into the army, which didn't end up turning out. But because I'd tried and hadn't gone, I didn't have education to go back to in foster care. At 16, they move you on into a flat. So moving into a flat with nothing was daunting, to say the least. Like you go in, it's cold, you don't have the money to put the heating on, you don't have no carpets to warm it up. Obviously it does play on your mental health. It has an adverse effect on the way you think at times, you know what I mean? So I got involved with people that I didn't want to, because I didn't want to be in my house. So if you can give somebody that comfortability in the house, it makes you feel like, actually I want to be at home tonight. I've got, you know what I mean, I've got a carpet, I've got maybe more walls that look nice, I've got, you know what I mean. So if that was where my mental health struggled, because I didn't have that comfortable home to be in. And I know a lot of people who are like that. I see a lot of other families that are like that, and for me that would be one of the places we'd like to give back to. But there's so much mental health about just not having that comfortability in your house. If your house is upside down, you know, from not even cleaning your house. If you don't clean your house, so but having floorboards full of paint and coming in and having to deal with that does have an adverse effect on your mental health.
I think it's important to say though as well, like, you've had extra challenges. Ben, I hope you don't mind me saying, Ben has ADHD.
No.
So, and I'd never been with anybody before who kind of had anything like that, and to kind of see how Ben's mind works and ticks over, once he has this idea or once he has something in his head, he has to run with it, because I don't know what goes on inside your head, but whatever he does, it seems to work. But it's letting him have that free roam to get it done, but also the backing. And what's been great to see is that what Ben's vision was and his heart for the community, it's started to come to life, and knowing that it's something that he's basically come up with and decided to put into motion, it's been a really beautiful process to kind of watch him do that and come into his own with it. Because I think it's important to say that at Floors for Thee we're not perfect. We don't expect any of our clients to be. We get invited into your homes, we want to know your story, and we also don't want to be just a a one-stop shop. You know, we want to have the connections with the other CIC groups and organisations, or whether they're independent as well, to be able to go, okay, well, I can see you're struggling in this area. Here's who you need to go and speak to for this.
Yeah.
We have such an amazing town. As much as people can say whatever they want about it, we are a working class town and we are proud of it.
Yeah.
And Wigan has so much more to offer than what people realise. It's just they've either got their head in the clouds or buried in the sand, and you know, it's coming out saying it's okay, we're all not perfect,
yeah.
nothing's going to be plain sailing, but we're all here to help each other.
Before the poem that we've me and Jess have worked on, that basically is that in a nutshell what you've just said. It just saying that we're all good people. Wigan is a strong town. Like we're strong people. Like, and we like to help each other. We're community based. We're proper northern soul. If you get what I mean.
And I think that's why, you know, when I look across Greater Manchester and some of the stuff we do across the country with the social economy, social enterprise sector, we have a really strong growing one in Wigan, and I think a lot of it is because, like you say, we've got that spirit. It's interesting, like you say, that because a lot of entrepreneur leaders like you guys, social enterprise leaders, have a neurodiverse background. So there is something around this, you know, this ability for us to have these, you know, barriers in the past, whatever it would be. And that, like I say, that determination, that spirit, that business minded to say, we're going to do something about it. And that's what I've always liked about the sector. Everybody's got this story and that collaboration and working together. And I know that's why when we had the Made in Wigan programme, because that was what it was all about. You know, every person who lives in our borough has at least one special skill or talent, and it's just finding it. And this is why I've always tried to say stuff in schools. You know, it's getting into schools and trying to say to young people, doesn't matter if you've got a barrier, doesn't matter whatever it will be. This is a sector going to enable you.
And there's loads of good places in Wigan for people for kids to find the skills, home skills. Wigan Youth Zone is an amazing place, and they've got so much. And I'm not promoting. Like, I'm not here to promote.
Working with them.
Yeah, we're working close. We've got a good relationship with them. But it's just a fantastic building. They've got so much going on for the kids around Wigan, and that's what we need.
So how do you work with them? In what way are you working with them at the minute?
So we've closely
we volunteer for them. We just every now and again. Look, Jess has been in the
we've helped out. We helped out with the Christmas appeal that was going on. Fantastic. It was something that kind of came up with the relationship of, obviously we focus with a lot with families especially, and you know, their part in what they do is, obviously their job is to look after the kids in that sector, and for us to kind of have that insight information and stuff, and you know, to know what kids are having provided for them and what can be done for this next generation to help them have a better start, and you know, to get them fired up and to have a comfortable life and they don't feel like they've been living on the breadline. And you know, there's such a great place for us to start with, and the things that they do for the families around Wigan, it is inspiring. They are fantastic people, and you know, just to know that those people are so on board with everything that you're doing and are willing to back you however it is that they can, it is great.
We have spoken to them about helping us with the poem, with getting a platform for the poem, and because we'd like them to, there's a part for them within it, a couple of other CICs who we want to just read their little part of the poem, that's whether it's like a community based thing. So
but I'd say we've only started to learn about the different things available in Wigan from doing Floors for Thee, because other than that, things aren't widely advertised for what's available or the help that is out there. So we've kind of got an upper hand being in the position that we are, which again is why we want to be that place where if we go into a home and we see that you're struggling with something, we then have the contacts, because we're now becoming aware of what is available. And you know, I think other people need to be aware of that as well, that there is the help, because a lot of the time you feel like you're stuck and that there isn't anything, or that things aren't happening quick enough and stuff, and there are so many amazing other things that are going on that if we can just even learn about it and point somebody in the right direction, then we've done what we've set out to do.
Because sometimes, like, I can be in a house and we'll just notice that they've been through a hard time and they might say something like, oh, I can't afford school clothes at the minute, never mind. And then we could say, well, actually, there's this other CIC in Wigan and they're helping kids out with school clothes, you know what I mean? And it's just them having them little ties. What if we can make them a bit stronger so they're a bit more out there, so then other people know about these services, then it'd be great to be able to do that with each other.
it's it'd be good, like I say, 'cause I know we've got some network events coming up, or whenever you're ready to showcase that. One thing we're going to do when we send this, when the podcast goes out next week on the bulletin, there's an article we're going to have. You may or may not know about it, but there's changes to like the procurement acts that are coming out, so that's going to be some information there. Because obviously, I think that's the thing with knowing it, like you said before, with what you guys do. I'm thinking now of straight away what I'm thinking about is obviously within our Proper Good funding, we've got this social investment, and we've got a bit of a strategy at the minute. We're working with. At the minute, we've got this thing called the Buildings Fund, and there's a lot of groups we know at the minute who are looking to take over buildings and stuff like this, as well as some of the big major developments going on in the town centre, Wigan Pier, etc. I'm hoping that certainly from our side, that ability to encourage people who maybe come and get social investment from the Buildings Fund from us to say, most of them will be wanting flooring of some kind in the buildings. And that's the thing we need to be saying, and this is one of the things that we want to be making sure we say, right, is that when somebody get it, this part is here you do it. So we're keeping it local, and hopefully now this new procurement act, that might help a little bit more in terms of the stuff with the public sector, the council, etc.
It does look promising,
The weird thing is I remember it was last year at some point I went to a networking event, and it was something to do with like Manchester Way, and one of the questions that I asked, because there was a lot to do with like the development and what's to come, my question, which they didn't have an answer for, is why are you not using local suppliers or local firms to supply and fit these jobs? And they honestly didn't have an answer, apart from one bloke was completely honest and just went, because half the time it's sometimes cheaper. But when you kind of upfront and ask people those conversations, sometimes they don't actually want to answer about it, because there isn't really a reason why you're not using what we're a working class town.
Maybe they just don't know who's in the Wigan area. It might be the fact that actually we don't know that this flooring company or this company's here providing that and it'd be social value, create social values to use them. You know what I mean? Basically, So maybe that making that more awareness on that would be good as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like we said before, from our side, there's so many groups out there that we're working with. The challenges obviously have been that business side of it. A lot of our groups, like we said before, will have a social purpose, but the business stuff, and that's what's refreshing with you guys in terms of that quality. And I know early on, I think last year I think it was when I went to the Meet the Buyers event for the new galleries development, and when you look at some of the list on there of the opportunities, you kind of think, there's not many on there.
No, there's not.
I think there was community cafes or something out there. I know they're not a social enterprise, but more of an SME who have got a contract to do that now, to do the cleaning side of it. So it was really nice that they're starting to do stuff. But that was one of our encouragements, which has been they're trying to get public sectors to see something like that and think, okay, it's not just because like for you guys, obviously you straight away got an opportunity there to bid in for it because of the flooring bit. But equally, we've always said before, that kind of mental well-being side of it, again, where these things that more procurement's going to come through in terms of, we've had people talk about, accessibility audits, but also, should procurement jobs have more stuff to do with, learning about mental well-being? Again, that's another thing that you guys obviously have that ability to even, support, teach other people how to do it. So, train the workforce. So there's so many facets of what you guys do. I suppose capacity is going to be a big issue because, there's so many opportunities in the next few years. I'll mention a bit about what your plans are for the next few years. But I suppose, because how many directors have you got? Did you say?
Three directors now. It's a family. It is family run at the minute. Me and Jess are married, obviously, and then Lucy's my sister. Lucy is accountants manager. She's took like fish to water, to be honest. She came in for a year just as doing accounts as
almost like a temporary basis though, wasn't it?
And then she came in and it was just she fit in very well. She took over very well. So then we recently offered a director's position and she took it on. So
but it's good because I know this is one of the challenges people always have been setting up an enterprise, is being that who do you have as your directors? There's always a question around trust, and do you know these people? And I know there's always barriers from a family side of it in terms of
we also have 2 other people involved in our company who aren't directors, but they have a lot of influence in our company, because
business advisors,
we class
them
them as business advisors. They do it as a voluntary basis, basically, and they help us. They've both had companies. One of them's had a really big company themselves in the past who just passes on information. Basically, my sounding board before I do anything, and the other one's worked as an account. Was she? What was she? She was the.
She's our fairy godmother.
Yeah, she's our fairy godmother. Yeah, she was an accountant for a treasurer for a church treasury. Yeah, so she was very, very good, and she's taught us all about our finances and how to calculate our outcomes and stuff like that. And she's been. Yeah, our fairy godmother. They've really just stuck the neck out. We've seen us floundering in the beginning and just picked us up off the side and put us back in the water. There was just. I wouldn't want to put the pressure of asking them to be a director in the company, because they happy just doing what they're doing. But I just want to mention them so then they know that they're well appreciated.
I do think one thing that we do need to mention is that with regards to obviously talking about the social development that's all going on in Wigan and using local people, that any time that anybody uses our service, whether it's for a job that isn't an in-kind or whether it is for another place or business, that when you use us, because we are a CIC, obviously it's a non-profit, so any of the profit that we do have goes straight back out into our community. So by using us, we can basically give back out to our community.
Exactly. It builds up for community, so we're going on to what you were saying about where we want to go. We're wanting to go maybe towards helping people, young lads coming out of foster care or coming out of jail, and teaching them a DIY skills course within our property, and using the old remnant carpet so it still stops it going to landfill, but using it to teach them how to do it within structured environment.
Because there's so many, like say, skills gaps at the minute, and that's going to be really fascinating.
We had a look at where the nearest flooring course was, and you're looking at near London. The St Helens have now took it off.
I know a colleague of mine in just before, maybe just after lockdown, we were doing a piece of work. Wigley Community Charity was in the process of supporting the Bickershire Village Club. To sustain, and we had some capital funding at the time from our funds at the time, Power to Change, and obviously we went into the village club, which is probably the only remaining village club left in the Abram Ward area of Abram, Platbridge, Bickershire, Bamflong, etc. And there was plans to have a bit of a dance floor in there. There was plans to do all this stuff around the culture and music and that. And anyway, we kind of spoke to a couple of people to say, where do we go? So I think it's about 2018, 19. And anyway, somebody put us on to a flooring company in Wigan. And actually we started talking about this idea of trying to do stuff with schools and parents and skills. And this gentleman who works for this flooring company said the same thing. He said, like, there is a shortage of floor fitters in the borough. And we were like, oh my word. And the word thought, when it's never happened, but you guys obviously are able to know to do that, of saying, how do we do this? How is there a way of not just encouraging, getting that ability for you guys to come in and fit the floor, but also do that training for the next generation of floor fitters.
We've just recently been looking at obviously future goals and doing a bit of R&D on what we want to do with it, and to open an actual college course just seems quite far out for us at where we're at the present. So to start off with, we want to do it as a DIY skills course, learning skills course basically, and just give people the background of laminate fitting, a little bit of laminate fitting, a little bit of carpet fitting, just to if they like it then and they decide that actually I really like this and they've been good on the course, then we might then say actually we'll keep you as an apprentice then, and then teach them on site. And that's the way I've kind of because the girls was all against it when we first started.
Oh God, don't start writing us out on this now.
It was but they knew it was going to be an extra job and it was going to be hard work, and we couldn't really do it as an accredited course per se. We can give an accreditation from ourselves, but we can't give it as a accredited course. And I kind of did a little bit more research into it and found out. I spoke to Alison Jolly, I can't remember where she's
from Wigan
Woodshop, yeah. And she told me about what they were doing, and they've offered their hand out again. Another Wigan community, CIC, who's doing great, and they told us basically what they do. And I thought, actually, this is they should give me some info that I didn't know, and it kind of looks like it could work.
Especially when it comes to learning, you understand the time and things that need to go into it. So originally it was like, oh my gosh, how the heck are we going to capacitate this? But we are seeing there is a need for it. So where there's a need, you make a way. Do you know what I mean? But originally when Ben came, we were like, and how do you expect us that we're going to plan this into everything else that's going on at the minute? But we know that that's a future goal that is needed. It will happen because we're determined to make it happen. And it's just making sure that within what we're doing now, and you know, the networking and meeting of people that we are, that you know, we're really surrounding ourselves with the supporters and the people who want that for us and who can point us in the right direction. And I think it's been great becoming a CIC and putting ourselves under the pressure of what's come with the job, because we've managed to meet, you know, like yourselves and other council members, other organisations, and the general public. It's just been a really enjoyable yet stressful experience, and you know, we have quite high hopes of where it's going. We just have to fall in line with Ben's ideas.
So in terms of this year, and obviously we're at the beginning of the year now, so in terms of by year end, what would you like to? Obviously, you mentioned before about the finding a platform for your poem, etc. Finding somewhere to get that out there, etc. On the public domain. So, what else would you like to achieve by year end? And
I'd like for the structure within the workplace that we've got at the minute to be just to get ourselves running better on doing our social goals. We're really good as a shop. We're busy with the shop side all the time. We're constantly busy, which is great, but we would really like to find. We've struggled with funding applications. We're not we're not qualified in funding apps at the minute.
I wouldn't say we're not qualified in it. It's just so many different places ask for different things. So some you'll apply for, they want to hear all about the eco side. So they want to know that 40,000 tonnes of carpet goes to waste, and you know, just manufacturers will throw away a massive pallet of laminate if there's one minor fault on one of the pieces. Like, it's things like that sometimes they want it. Other places don't want to hear nothing about it. And so I think a goal for this year is definitely to get better at those, because we understand now what goes into it. But I think also because of how quickly we kind of things went into it, it was like we kind of started applying it first of all for the funding. I don't think a lot of people recognised that it was a needed service. So at the start it was as if people didn't get it, but as we've learnt more as we've gone, we can now explain more, which then gives other people a better idea.
We get feedback. You get feedback on your grant apps, and the last couple of times we got some really good feedback, and it kind of asking us, like, they're trying to find out why we're after this funding more than what we've been putting in. We've been obviously trying to fill the app in with a certain amount of words, but this time we're going to really go in depth with explaining what they want.
What
are
these grants for? Are they for develop new services?
To basically if we to keep the flooring affordable and have more be able to buy in clearance items. So if we do our research and we can find carpets that are so cheap but they're top quality carpets, and then we can buy them in roll stock and then use them to basically keep the flooring affordable for people. Also just to help us with advertising, marketing and advertisements and stuff like that.
But then you get some fundings where it's like, we basically want to fund to keep your business afloat, so therefore we'd then put that towards the rent, because you know, I think as well we came into this, I wouldn't say naive is probably a decent word to use for it, because you don't realise overheads, and before you know it you're paying $1.5 in rent, and then you've got your electric, and then it's petrol costs on top. And I don't think we
prepared for that.
No. Because you kind of feel like you can do it all from your van.
We started from nothing. We didn't start with a pot of money in a big bundle, and we started in a little room in Fairclimpt and just floated into the sector. We didn't come in with a business model, because there was no business model for what we did. So we just basically went in and went, we'll king this till we'll wing this till we king it. Basically.
But luckily, literally from starting off,
we done.
It was, you know, Fairclimpt gave us the platform to start off with and go, you can have a room, we'll help you out. And literally from there, it's just exploded to the point where we're in the unit that we're in now because we need the space and the storage for everything. So we've been blessed in so many different departments with what we're doing.
We're outgrowing that. We've only been there a month.
I'm not ready for a move yet, love. Can we not?
It's just every time we get bigger, then more things come, and we're just like so.
But that's the thing, isn't it? The more you grow, the more you know it is, and it's only going to surely it should only go one way. And I think that's the thing is more people start to understand a bit more in terms of like that social bit, but understandably that you are high quality, stuff that you provide as a business. But you do this social bit, and that's
some of the stuff that comes to us. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It'll be the end of the roll. It can be like between 1 and 3 meters, and it cuts off the end. It gets stored, and if it's been there long enough, they want it off the shelf to bring in new stock. So then we take them at a really affordable rate, and then we give them out at brilliant rates.
But I think what's important to say as well is that the bits that we save from landfill, which we class as our remnant stock, anybody can have that. So although we use that for a lot of our in-kind work with the stairs and landings in the child's bedrooms, if somebody came to us and said, I'm after my stairs and landing done, can I come down and look at what you've got? Some of the pieces of carpet that we get, we mean the £50 a square metre, and just because it's been something that that they don't need anymore or they can't use, they will happily throw that in the bin. But we've had anybody can use it. What it is that we're doing.
Recently, we just got 10 pallets of laminate, and we've started going through it all. And there's a couple of mechanisms broke, but you can start them. You can use them as what we call starter pieces. But it's mainly box damage. There's no face damage on any of the laminate. But
because the product box is damaged, they can't sell that as retail value. So therefore, it's basically a waste of money to them. And I think it's mind blowing how they haven't catched on and thought, how much stuff are we actually throwing in the bin and losing here? Where Ben literally went up to them and went, listen, I know you ain't using it, so sell it to me for a fraction of the price and let me help people buy affordable flooring.
I'm just trying to push on in a minute with some manufacturers of the damage rolls, the stuff that they send back to Turkey and places like that. They come and they might have a line damage on the carpet, and I know it's got line damage on it, but it's somebody who doesn't have anything. There's nothing wrong with it. We can use that. You know what I mean? So we're just. I'm trying to press them at the minute. Just I'm working on them. But it's getting a policy in place for them where they have an assessor over here to come and check the damage for us instead of for them. So then they don't have to send it back over to the country because they'll get an assessor to check it. But if we could do that, then it'd stop them petrol wise going over it. It'd stop landfill. Because we're all about stopping it going to landfill.
I think this is an idea we'd like to, focus on this year, and obviously, I know it's something we've been talking about as part of this from the Proper Good training is getting that social value measurements and stuff. And I think for you that's good. Is massively crucial because everything you do, the environmental side of it and everything else you've been before, it is just massive, etc. And I think it's interesting. I remember like in lockdown when people were like starting to buy stuff and that has got that story behind it. And I think I'm not saying businesses or people in the private sector, public sector, but buy stuff off you, but you'd like to think that when they do, they think to know that actually just by paying that money for that that actually somewhere down the line there's a story that's helping somebody else. It could be a family, a family with a young person who's there, and that story, whether that's helping employ somebody local who's maybe got barriers, or even like you say just reducing landfill or helping that story, and you'd like to think that story inside of it, it's an interesting one.
My economic goals are massive for future, to be honest. I want to do so much more with it, but it's such an hard topic. We're just learning that there's a company in Polymer in Belgium, and they're actually recycling carpets. We've met a company over here who have now followed on to what they're doing, and they're recycling old carpets into new carpets, but they're using plastic bottles, they're using plastic forks, bags, stuff like that, and what they do is they melt it down into a substandard form. I don't know the ins and outs, but they melt it down to a substandard form of pellet, and then they reuse it for carpets. Now the machines for them are absolutely ridiculous price, but I'm hoping if over the next few years, if we do some R&D and get in touch with them and show them what we're doing with our social values, and we'd like to do more with our economic side, then they may go, do you know what, we'll invest in that. You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll invest in that that shot. Yeah, and we'll
and that'd be a good opportunity, like I said, with some of the funding to get some of that.
to get some.
I know a lot of people when they do apply for funding, sometimes it can be seen to just.
Yeah.
I'm not saying prop the business up, but it's nice that a lot of funders like the idea. I mean, this is something that could be used as a research and development point of view. But no, like I said, I think it just fascinates because I think, you know, when we look at our sector, you know, what you guys are doing is business as normal as it should be, but we know at the minute
there's a lot of hidden
business is normal as we see it, as you guys see it, isn't seen as business as normal. It's always been about, you know, making money, shareholders, you name it, and this idea of this.
There could be hidden values,
and it's to know when we look at, you know, social value, and I know we've some of our colleagues on this program obviously talk about a lot about social value. Again, it's something we need to kind of do. You know, what you guys do is it's natural. Listen, you're knocking that off there. Yeah,
edit that out.
The bloopers bit. I'll leave that in. Clumsy as usual. It's what you guys do. It's normal, and that's where it should realistically be, etc. So it's now getting that, you know, you guys recognise, which you do anyway. You've got some good contacts.
Yeah, what we could do is keep, because sometimes I'll go to Jess or I'll go to Lucy. We've not done anything for help anyone for a little while, and it's about keeping people knowing that we will give you affordable flooring and come out and measure up and see what we can do to keep it within your budget, but not expecting everything to be free. We need it to be at our discretion. We've got to be able to come out, and sometimes we just don't have the stock. We'll go, if the room's too big, we can't just provide stock that we don't have. So trying to keep people aware of that we're not 100% free, and it's all at our discretion. If we decide that we can help you, we can help you, but it's also, if we can't, we can't.
Yeah, exactly. You're a business. Yes, you obviously have a social purpose, but you are
a business, and we have to be sustainable. Otherwise, there's no point in doing any of this. Yeah.
And it is, and it's something that we need to start changing that concept, and obviously you guys are obviously playing a big part in changing that mindset of how we are. So anything else before we finish that you'd like to mention?
I'm
trying to think.
I think that's everything.
I think it's important to mention that we actually got awarded our first time silver off the Wigan Council for what it is that we're doing within the community.
Yeah, Believe in Business.
Yeah, the Believe in Business. Yeah, we got offered a silver award of that, and that was only our first year even looking at what we would be.
And you received that back in the last year, was it?
We received that. I don't really think there's much else. I think
that's good that just shows straight away that you've got that recognition to get that, because I know obviously on the process of getting that, and obviously know that your next step there will be to go and get the gold status. I'm sure you're not really that far off getting it, etc. And then it'd be interesting to see then obviously how that is then having an impact. So I think that's the reason why.
I think going away from what we've just been talking about starting to measure our outcomes, and see how we can do that a bit better now. So that would be a good thing to start doing, just to show what we're actually we're actually doing. We know figures in how much money we've done for this year, but to measure even just the economic values and stuff, it's something that I've not really thought about. But you've made that.
And I was lucky back end of last year to get invited to the Wigan Borough Business Awards and the Wigan Business Awards. So I can imagine 2025 Business Awards, you guys will be there on nominated, shortlisted for.
I'd like that. Yeah, that'd be great.
If anybody wants to nominate,
well, exactly. We'll make sure that as soon as the voting comes out, it's like vote for. But it should be, because you're obviously not only be part of the business of the year categories, but obviously, I know there's always like the charity social enterprise side of it.
Small business side of the year and things.
You take it. That's amazing. No, honestly, I'm really glad. I know it's something obviously when we started doing this podcast, we really wanted to get you guys in to hear more about your story, just to share it really, and make sure that obviously your words out there. Loads of people know about you guys anyway, but just to elevate it as well. And great, keep on doing what you guys are doing. It's amazing, and good luck for everything.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you so much for having us. We've loved it. It's been great.